12th grade, Scientific Section, Unit 3, Medicine. Let's get familiar with this vocabulary list. Throughout, during the period of time. Various, several, different, diverse. Society, people in general, living together in communities. Culture, the customs and beliefs, art, way of life of a country. View, a personal opinion about something, a way of understanding something. Approach, a way of dealing or thinking about somebody or something. Illness, unwell, a condition of being unhealthy in your body or mind. Development, growth, evolution. Medieval, connected with the Middle Ages, about 1000 AD to 1450 AD. Came about, happened. Author, a person who has written something. Mesopotamia, the area of present-day Iraq and parts of Iran, Turkey, Syria, and Kuwait. Attribute, to explain something by indicating a cause. Supernatural, unable to be explained by science or nature. Patient, a person who receives medical care or treatment. Temple, a building for religious practice. Cure, drugs or medical treatment that stops a disease. Superstition, faith in magic or luck. Bleeding, to cause blood to leave the body. Reduce, to make something smaller in size, amount, number, etc. Groundbreaking, introducing new ideas or methods. Vaccination, the administration of a vaccine to help the immune system develop protection from a disease. Surgery, medical treatment in which a doctor cuts into someone's body in order to repair or remove diseased parts. Respectable, considered to be acceptable, good, or correct. Determine, to decide something. Analysis, the detailed study or examination of something in order to understand more about it. Student's Book, page number 29. History of Medicine. Throughout history, various societies and cultures have developed different views in their approach to illnesses and diseases. One of the most important periods in the development of medicine at all, especially medieval medicine, which lasted from the 9th to the 13th century, is called the Golden Age of Arabic medicine. The books of Arabic science that came about in this period are not only by Muslim authors, because Arab civilization is the result of consecutive and continuous efforts of various nations, regardless of the religion, race, and color of the skin, who lived and produced in the Arab region. In ancient times, people used to cure sickness by using plants, herbs, and other materials. In countries such as Egypt, Greece, Rome, Mesopotamia, India, and China, medicine was magical and mythological, and diseases were attributed mostly to the supernatural forces. Thus, before hospitals developed, patients were treated mostly in temples. The practice of medicine during the Middle Ages was empirical. It focused mainly on curing illnesses rather than discovering their causes. At that time, cures continued to be a mixture of superstitions, religion, herbal remedies, bleeding, and purging. People were bled to reduce inflammation, which was then thought to be the root of all diseases. Moreover, medical schools were established, but most people never saw a doctor because of the high cost treatments. Instead, people were treated by local wise people who were skilled in the use of herbs, or by priests or barbers. Around the 16th century, medicine witnessed groundbreaking developments such as vaccination, human anatomy, surgery, and microbiology. Modern medicine started to emerge in the late 18th century, and therefore there were many improvements on medical tools and machines, especially after the Industrial Revolution. In the 1800s, physicians learned that illnesses were caused by germs, and hospitals began to focus on keeping clean to keep germs away. As a result, nursing came to be thought of as a respectable job. The 20th century was characterized by new biological treatments, such as antibiotics. In addition to advancement in chemistry, genetics, and radiography, Arabic medicine has made a major contribution to the development of pharmacy. It is logical for doctors to discover new drugs while looking for ways to treat their patients. They wrote about them in booklets about the history of the disease called Al-Mujarrabat. Subsequently, good and lesser known drugs were extracted from it. Physicians have tried to use simple medicines to determine the exact effect of the entered component into the disease. Still, some doctors have prescribed and combined the medications that they themselves formulated. Today, healthcare isn't just about doctors. Nurses, physical therapists, and technicians are all part of a large healthcare system that helps to keep people healthy. Modern medicine is characterized by surgeries, the use of radiation, microscopy, research and analysis in the detection of disease or ailment by using modern technological tools. Due to the rapid advance of technology, it is certain that medicine will continue to develop. Page 30, Exercise A. In pairs, try to guess the meaning of the highlighted words, then match them with their definitions below. A response of body tissues to injury of the body. Inflammation. Making somebody healthy and clean of bad thoughts. Purging. Connected with ancient myths or stories. Mythological. People who have been trained to give a particular form of treatment for physical or mental illness. Therapists. Based on experience rather than ideas. Empirical. Following one another without any interruptions. Consecutive. The scientific study of the structure of the body. Anatomy. Medicines or treatment that cure a disease. Remedies. Exercise B. Read the text and answer the questions. Why did ancient medicine people tend to treat their patients in temples? Because medicine was magical and mythological, and diseases were attributed mostly to the supernatural forces. Why didn't most medieval Europeans visit medical schools to receive treatment? Because of the high-cost treatments. Who were most patients treated by in the Middle Ages? People were treated by local wise people who were skilled in the use of herbs, or by priests or barbers. What developments did medicine experience in the 16th century? In the 16th century, medicine witnessed groundbreaking developments such as vaccination, human anatomy, surgery, and microbiology. What did the Industrial Revolution contribute to medicine? There were many improvements on medical tools and machines. When did the role of nursing begin to develop? In the 1800s, when physicians learned that illnesses were caused by germs and hospitals began to focus on keeping clean to keep germs away. What was Al-Mujarrabat about? They were booklets about the history of the disease. In your opinion, what would medicine be like in the future? I think surgeries will be conducted by robots, and medical care will be cheaper and available to everyone. Exercise C. Complete the following sentences with information from the text. The books of Arabic science are not only by Muslim authors, but also other authors from various nations, regardless of the religion, race, and color of the skin, who lived and produced in the Arab region. In ancient times, medicine in Egypt and Mesopotamia was related to magic, mythology, and supernatural forces. Medical physicians used bleeding as a successful remedy to reduce inflammation. Medicine will continue to develop as a result of the rapid advance in technology. Page 32. Vocabulary, Exercise 1. Replace the words in italics in 1 to 6 with the correct form of the medical idioms in the box. Number 1. After a long tax season, getting an extra week off with pay is what is needed. After a long tax season, getting an extra week off with pay is just what the doctor ordered. Number 2. My uncle got sicker suddenly last night, so we are heading to the hospital to see him. My uncle took a turn for the worse last night, so we are heading to the hospital to see him. It was miraculous that the little girl fully recovered because she was very close to death with sepsis and pneumonia. It was miraculous that the little girl fully recovered because she was at death's door with sepsis and pneumonia. I don't understand how people have a surgery for really risky cosmetic procedures. I don't understand how people go under the knife for really risky cosmetic procedures. We were so happy to hear that your father is back home now and becoming well again. We were so happy to hear that your father is back home now and on the mend. I used to write rude comments on Instagram, but I got treated badly when I created my own account. I used to write rude comments on Instagram, but I got a taste of my own medicine when I created my own account. Exercise B. Write the appropriate medical specialist word that suits each description. Dermatologist, cardiologist, allergist, naturopath, pediatrician, ophthalmologist. An allergist specializes in determining food and environmental allergies. A cardiologist is a heart specialist. A dermatologist treats skin diseases. A naturopath specializes in natural cures and remedies. A pediatrician is a specialist for babies and children. An ophthalmologist specializes in eye diseases. Exercise C. Use the appropriate medical specialist word from exercise B above to fill in the gaps. Children who have an allergic reaction after the first shot should be referred to an allergist before continuing with the DTP vaccine. If that itchy rash doesn't go away, you should go to a dermatologist. Our pediatrician recommended that little Kathy should have her tonsils out. Dr. Rashid, Layla's cardiologist, came in and noted that her blood pressure and pulse were very high. My father says everything looks blurry, so he is going to the ophthalmologist to get his eyes checked. Robert is an accredited naturopath with herbal medicine and nutritional training. Page 33. Grammar. Passive voice. Read the story. Underline an example of the present passive, past passive, the present perfect passive, the present continuous passive, and the future passive. How do you form the passive? A local jewelry shop was broken into by someone yesterday. The shop had just been locked up by the owner when he was threatened by a robber with a gun. He was told by the robber to unlock the shop and give him all the diamonds in the safe. Then he was tied up by the robber. A search has been organized by the police for the robber. It is hoped he will be found in a few days. The owner of the shop is being treated by doctors for shock. In this short story, we notice several passive verbs, and they have different tenses. So how do you form the passive voice? A robber broke into a local jewelry shop yesterday. Look here, look at the move. A local jewelry shop was broken into yesterday. In the passive, we're switching the focus to the action rather than who did the action. So we're switching focus from the doer to the action itself. For example, Columbus discovered America in 1492. Here in the sentence, which is active, we're focusing on Columbus. We're focusing on who did the action. Columbus discovered America. Who discovered America? Columbus. So it's an active. We know. We're focusing on who did the action. However, in the passive, we switch the focus into America. America was discovered by Columbus in 1492. So this is passive voice. At the end, we use the preposition by to mention the agent. Finally, the passive voice is formed by adding verb to be plus the past participle of the verb. But remember, the verb to be is the same verbal tense of the active sentence. Here we have a list of the general structure of the verb be. We'll have more examples to clarify this point. The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. The telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell. Penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming. In these sentences, we know that these actions happened in the past, and they are singular nouns. The Mona Lisa, the telephone, penicillin, singular nouns. So therefore we use was. Verb be in the past for singular nouns we use was. The pyramids are visited by thousands of tourists every year. The Umayyad Mosque is visited by thousands of tourists every year. In these two sentences, we have the same verb visit. However, in the first, we're talking about a plural noun, pyramids. That's why we use are. plural present, are visited. In the second, however, we use is. The Umayyad Mosque is visited by thousands of tourists every year. As a reminder, the passive voice in English can be in different tenses according to the original verb. There's harmony between the original verb and the passive verb. In this list we have the list of the tense, different tenses in English, then the active voice, then the passive voice. Page 34, Exercise B. Fill in the gaps with the correct passive forms of the verbs in brackets. I'm sorry, this office is so dirty, but it can't be cleaned until tomorrow morning. Look at this one. Can't, which is a modal verb, is followed by the infinitive without to. So, it can't be cleaned until tomorrow. Cleaned in the past participle. These clothes are designed for daily use, so you can wear them wherever you want. These clothes is a plural noun, so we use are in the present. They are designed. Number 3. Many offices of large companies have been built in the town center recently. We use the present perfect in this example because there's a clue, which is recently. Many offices, plural noun, have been built. Present perfect passive. Number 4. All the goods that were purchased yesterday have defects, so they are being sent back to the manufacturer right now. We're talking about goods. All the goods, which is a plural noun, so we use are. Are being sent. There's being ing because this is the present continuous. So it's present continuous passive voice. Because there's right now adverb. Right now. They are being sent right now. Camera footage shows that illegal goods were smuggled into the warehouse last week. Last week, it's a past simple, so illegal goods plural noun, so we use were smuggled. The poor bird was captured and all its efforts to escape from the trap were in vain. The poor bird is a singular noun. Was captured in the past. Was captured. Again, we're adding be plus past participle. The hotel near our office was closed because it was being renovated by the owner. It was being renovated because it's singular, past continuous, passive voice. Number 8. Your car is a death trap. It should have been sent to the scrap years ago. Should have been sent. Should have been sent. Should, modal verb, followed by have because it's a past advice. Exercise C. Change the following sentences into passive. My neighbor disappeared 6 months ago. I haven't seen him since. My neighbor disappeared 6 months ago. He hasn't been seen since. So again, take a look. We changed haven't, which was for the subject I haven't, because we changed the focus of the sentence into he. He is a third person singular, so he hasn't been seen since. Number 2. The organizers will exhibit the paintings till the end of the month. The paintings will be exhibited by the organizers till the end of the month. Scientists expect that people will live on Mars in 2050. It is expected that people will live on Mars in 2050. Police officers were examining the evidence when the lights went out. The evidence was being examined by police officers when the lights went out. The committee asked me some difficult questions in the interview yesterday. I was asked some difficult questions by the committee in the interview yesterday. Sammy's parents must have brought him up to be more polite. Sammy must have been brought up to be more polite. After the interview, the owner had already offered me the job at his bank. After the interview, I had already been offered the job at the bank. This is the end of Unit 3. Thank you for your attention.